Rock and roll. Well, good morning, guys. Hope you guys are well. What are we on Thursday morning, 8:30 here in the DFW area. Appreciate you guys jumping on as we jump into week 4, session 4 here of team building. So first off, just want to say I appreciate you guys coming along on these sessions, on these journeys. I was talking with Jeff yesterday, Jeff Goodman. I coach him out of the West Coast, and I say my goal is if I can give you 1 or 2 nuggets out of each one of these sessions, and you can take those and apply those to your business. That's the ultimate goal. That's the win here. So because of our business is such a gray area, it's not black and white. So there's so many great ways to run and operate a successful business. I like to share what's worked for me, what I've seen work for other Compass agents. So hopefully you guys can take some bits and pieces of this to help you grow. And I always say this at the end, but off the camera, off this Zoom, I'm always available via email or text if you ever have any questions. So let's go ahead and dive in. So today we are going to talk about your first hire. If you are either looking to build a team or if you're looking to scale your team. So let's go ahead and dive in. Chris, we'll go to the next slide. I always like to review last week's session just to catch up people that might have missed or just to get it back in your brain, because what I like to do is kind of tie each week together to the best of my ability. So last week we talked about team models, the different types of team models out there. These aren't all the types of team models, but these are basically the core team models that are out there that most agents use. Partnerships, maybe a mom and daughter team, friends, the informal team, which really isn't a team, the Rainmaker model, which is very, very popular. That's usually that rock star agent that was blowing and going as an individual agent, kind of got some burnout, was working 80 hours a week and wanted to build something to kind of scale their business. And then the traditional brokerage style team, which we're starting to see a lot more of, to where that team leader takes more of a CEO role. He or she might sell, might not, but it's set up more like a corporation. And then lastly, expansions. You see that a lot, like in the Keller Williams model. You're starting to see it a lot around where these agents are looking to go to other markets, other states, to expand their brand and expand their team. So we went over that last week. What are some of you guys out there that have teams now? What are you kind of set up as? I'm curious to see in the comments what you're set up as, or what are you looking to grow your team as? So just throw some of those in the comments. There's Dee Dee. Hey, Dee Dee. We're being shy this morning. There we go. Rainmaker. Yeah, the Rainmaker usually is very, very popular. The broker type team, Jeff, we talked about that yesterday. It's kind of a combo of the Rainmaker style. So, all right, let's dive in. Drum roll here. Next slide, Chrissy. So who's your first hire, right? Actually, before we do this, I want to see who do you think your first hire is, guys? Let's have a little collaboration here in the comments. Who's your first hire? Yes. See, I don't even need to talk about it today. Everyone knows. Your next slide, Chrissy. Awesome. Without a doubt, guys, your first hire has to be an admin. I see all these teams around the country throughout Compass go out and they, let's say it's a Rainmaker model, right? That agent's busy, they're slammed, they have the business, and they just go out and start grabbing buyer agents because they need to buy some time, right? They need to buy some time. So they just they go get buyer agents. They go get a marketing person, a digital marketing person, someone to handle their Instagram, all of that. But in the end, the whole point of this team building structure is to provide value and to look down the road and say, how can I provide some value to grow this thing and scale this thing the right way? And the only way that you can do that is by hiring an admin. They are going to be the core of your business. So here's one thing too. So a lot of agents I coach come up to me and go, look, well, I'm really not ready to hire a full-time admin, right? I might not have the dollars, I might not have the production, but I want to slowly get into this team thing, right? When I first started out, I created a kind of a hybrid position, right? So I went and found a newer agent that was hungry. I didn't quite have the dollars and cents. I made sure they're licensed, and we're going to get into that here in a few slides. But and I started them out in that admin role. But they also helped me with buyers, right? To take some of that burden off me. So that's something also to look into. But if your ultimate goal is to grow this thing and add more agents, that hybrid position has to go away and come into a full-time position. If you can definitely pull off the full-time admin, that's definitely the way to go. So we're going to dive into the next slide here and talk about why this is so important. So what's the importance of the admin, right? It's basically, you've got to think of it like this. It's basically the nucleus of the team, right? It's going to allow you, I always say that the great thing about our business is in real estate, there's so many ways to make income. There's so many ways to run a team properly. So your admin is going to be the nucleus. It's going to give you those legs. It's going to give you those wings to build this thing the right way. Time management, we all know about that, right? The admin's going to give you your time back, let you do the things that you want to do and help grow. It's also going to create structure, right? With structure, that's going to lead to legitimacy, right? From the outside. And that's when you start your recruiting, right? Because when people on the outside see that you have structure, you have systems, you have processes, that equals legitimacy, and that helps you recruit. And lastly, my favorite word, it's going to create value. Week 2, we talked about the only reasons people join a team. That was the core 4. That was brand, that was culture, that was opportunities, and that was support. Without an admin, the core 4 is very difficult to develop, right? And the admin is going to help you develop those core 4 so you can go out and get those right agents, whether they're buyer agents, listing agents, however you want to structure your team. They're going to help you go out and get those agents, make it a lot easier for you. Let's see here. So let's get into that a little bit. Before how do I start, we got to talk about, it's easy to go out there and get a bunch of new agents to join your team. I did that. At first I scaled my team up to about 11 agents, brought it back to 6, went up to another 11, brought it back to 7. Now I'm like at 9. So again, there's not a perfect way to do it. You're going to make some bad hires, but the ultimate goal is this market changes. Those mid-level agents that you want to go out there and get, and in different markets, I know the numbers for a mid-level agent are different. I'm just going to use our DFW market. If you can go to get an $8 to $10 million producer to be on your team, that's a home run. One, they know what they're doing. You don't have to hold their hand. They're going to make you some money, but the only way you get them, guys, is by providing that value. A lot of times that $8 million producer is in the same boat that you were, right? They make enough money. They make a great living, but they're kind of burnt out. they might be, they're burnt out. They might be working too much. And they're also looking for that back end structure. So that's where we dive in back into the admin. Remember, last week we talked about the artist and the operator, right? Most of the team leads are the artists. They need that operator to really function correctly, and vice versa. So a lot of you are saying, where do I start? How do I find this admin? I know Jeff Goodman and I have been working the last couple of weeks, and he has found a great admin. We're starting to build out his entire system. And just in the 2 or 3 weeks she has been with him, it has made a significant difference on his business. And we're both super excited to get it going. So where do I start? Go ahead, Chrissy. You must identify what tasks you need to help you grow and how you're going to provide value. Week 1, we're going to go back, self-awareness. You're going to hear me say it every week, guys. Get used to it because it ties to every part of your business. Self-awareness basically is understanding your strengths and weaknesses, right? So a lot of agents want to go out there and hire their buddies, right? They want to go hire 5 artists, right? Because we're all set. We can all sell. We can all do that, right? No, you do not want to do that. So what I'll tell you kind of how I got started. The self-awareness thing is tough because a lot of us are type A. We run a good business. We think we can control everything. How many of you guys out there, I want to see in the comments, how many of you out there have trouble taking your hands off everything or some things? This should be good. Dee Dee answered right away. Lisa, yep. I want to type you up too. That's the biggest thing, right? We've been going to whether it's 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, going by yourself, rocking and rolling. You might have 1 or 2 other people on your team. You're looking to grow. The first thing you've got to understand is taking things away from yourself. That's self-awareness, guys. My strengths, I was a salesman. I was that artist. I was the platinum artist. You put me in front of a client, I got the deal. Easy, easier said than done. That's not arrogance. That's not confidence. That's not cockiness. That's what I was really good at. I also sucked at a lot of stuff, and you've got to understand that every one of you suck at a lot of things. It's fine. We all do. What I hated, what my weakness was that back end work, right? I came to Compass without a database. I didn't write anything down, but I just went out there and sold, right? That was easy in the beginning because I was writing my strengths. My clients, my numbers hadn't grown to a point to where the scalability started to create a lot of struggles. But as you grow, you can't get away with that, right? So I knew my first hire needed to be that admin, and it needed to be someone that could totally fill my weaknesses. And I'll get vulnerable here. Jeff and I talked about it yesterday. My weakness was I don't like those hard conversations. I don't like to fire people. I don't like to tell people they do a bad job. And as a team leader, that's a pretty tough weakness to deal with, right? So I went out and found my Amber. Amber's my director of operations. She started as my admin, totally opposite of me. She has no filter. She's very blunt, direct, straight to the point. She loves those tough conversations. It was perfect. Now, in the beginning, that was a tough adjustment for me, but we worked through it. So how did I work through that, right? So here's your homework for this week. For those guys that are struggling with this self-awareness thing, I want you to go through, you don't have to do an entire week, but do today or do tomorrow, maybe when you have some appointments. At the end of the day, write down what you did that day as it relates to real estate, your tasks. It's really good to do a full week because what you're going to start seeing is a trend. you're going to see a trend of, okay, I'm doing this every day and I'm doing this. Oh my gosh, I did it on Monday, I did it on Tuesday, and I did it on Thursday. Once you have those things written down, figure out what you don't like to do. Because what I learned quickly is, as my business grew and was on this rocket ship, I was focused too much on those things that I didn't like to do. I didn't know it, but that was the cause of my burnout. That was the cause of my attitude changing, me being upset when I came home, cranky with my kids, cranky with my wife. So once you have that list, take those things you don't like to do or you're not very good at, move those to the side. That's how you're going to build out your admin. You're going to take away those things from you that you don't like or your weaknesses, so you can double, triple down on your strengths and help you grow your business and grow this team. You want to eliminate the things off your plate. And most importantly, we've talked about it, you've got to hire to your weaknesses. So next slide. All right, let's see here. So how do you identify the right fit for you? We kind of just dove into this, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper. So when you're talking to that admin or that potential candidate, one of the most important things is to ask them, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because again, guys, this isn't a Band-Aid on a small wound. If you're looking to scale your team or grow your team, this is a big picture. This is a 5-10 year plan. So you want to make sure that person you bring in is on the same page with you, right? If you sit down with this person and you think they're great and their resume looks great, but you ask them, hey, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? And they're like, well, I'm thinking about doing this and I want to get into selling. Then I want to be a team lead. Then I want to bring in my best friend and my mom, and we're going to grow this big business. That's not the right person for you, right? You've got to set the expectation up front. And most importantly, tell them what your direction is. And that is the biggest or the most positive thing with my director of operations, who was previously the admin, with our relationship. From day one, she understood my goals and where I wanted to bring my team, and she was on board. So figure out where they see themselves in 5 years, because again, they're going to be the nucleus, guys. They are going to be the ones that are going to provide that value to help you bring in these other agents and scale this business, so you can go back to enjoying what you're doing, having a little bit more of your time back. Also, what's their motivation, right? We talked about this, I think, a little bit in week 1 with self-awareness, and in week 2. I'm huge on motivation, and we're gonna talk motivation over the next few weeks a lot, how it ties to how you pay your agents, how you pay your admins, how you keep them motivated. So what's their motivation? Is it money? Do they want to help people? Do they want to use this job as a stepping stone? Motivation is key, because no matter how great of an agent or an admin or an employee they're going to lose motivation, because your motivation is not just affected in the workplace, it's affected at home or things that happen outside of the job. So understanding why they're there is super important, and those things are going to change. I talked about in week 1 when I told the story about New York City, Broadway. My daughter said, "Daddy, all you do is work, and you might as well have stuck a knife in my forehead." Back then my motivation was money. I didn't care. I was young. We were going on cool trips, buying cool stuff. Now I don't care about that, right? I want to live a healthy life, go to my kids' gym meets, golf tournaments, be a great husband. That's more important. You know what? The money's going to be there. And you guys on this call, y'all are rock stars. Y'all are at Compass. The money, and I don't say this selfishly, and I know you take it the right way. The money's the easy part, guys. You are all great at your job, but if you're not enjoying it and are not living the life you want to live, it doesn't really matter. And it took me about 7 years to figure that out. So setting the expectation, we kind of covered that. And then the personality thing, the personality things, it's funny because, Amber, she knows everything about me. If you really want to take this thing to the next level, I mean, you guys have to click. You've got to be uncomfortable, or you've got to be comfortable to be uncomfortable around your admin. They're going to know everything about you. They're going to know everything about your finances, your kids, your spouse, your strengths, your weaknesses. And that goes back to being on the same page, right? So it's more than just finding someone that can do great data entry, right? They've got to be like-minded. They've got to be on the same page with you. So when you are talking to them, when you're trying to find them, you guys you're gonna laugh together. You're gonna cry together. So you've got to make sure that they are a great fit. And I know I look at personality. It's kind of a double negative there, because I said you want to hire someone against your weaknesses, but you also kind of want them to be like you, at least on the mindset side. So, all right, next slide. All right, this is gonna stir some things up here. So should your admin be licensed at Compass, right? Let's go back to the typical real estate team model. That was never a thing. I personally believe the way these teams are going and the way our market has changed over the last 3 to 5 years, having your admin licensed as an agent has been a huge thing for me. Fortunately, we're at Compass, and the way they're set up, and in most parts of the region, they allow you to do kind of what I'm just talking about. Again, self-awareness. For me, I don't like the back end stuff. I don't like the accounting. I don't want to do W-2s. I don't want to worry if they leave. Am I providing them insurance? Is there unemployment? My strength was selling, going out there recruiting. That was my strength. Get me in front of people. I'm going to build this thing. The back end, I wanted nothing to do with it. I firmly believe, and again, we're not in a black and white business, right? We're in a gray business. But so Amber, my assistant and our team operations director, is licensed. I pay her through Compass off my CDAs. That's what we call them here in Texas. I don't know what they're called around the rest of the country. It just makes it easy on me, right? And then I talked about the motivation part of it, right? So, and I'm happy to talk offline with you guys about this, because there's multiple ways you can do it, and in different regions. But anyone that's on my team, even on the back end, is licensed. That's a rule for me. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it that way. It just works best for me, because it gives them skin in the game. They're all paid percentages off our deals, right? One of the most scary things about building a team, and because our business is so cyclical, is in June, Corey, in June, you might have 8, 9, 10 closings, right? You're making a bunch of money, right? But in October, might be slow, right? We're going through a market shift. You might not have a closing. You might have one. So for me, that was a struggle. That scared me. So the way I look at it is, with my admin, she's got skin in the game. She's making a percentage off every deal. When I have 14 closings in May, I make a lot of freaking money. But you know what? She does too. I don't care. And in October, when I have one closing, things aren't that great, she doesn't really make much money, right? keeps them motivated. It gets them to the finish line, and it gets them on the same page as you with the direction of your team. Motivation is key again. So that is a touchy subject with, let's see, we're going to go through. Sorry, I just got a new screen, so I'm new at this whole dual, triple screen thing. I know we have a couple minutes. I'm seeing some question up here. Dee Dee, she shows houses for me. Perfect. Glad you brought that up. Amber right now is at an inspection for me in Dallas, right? If she wasn't licensed, she couldn't do that, because she's answering questions with the inspector, answering real estate type questions, or legally, she couldn't do that if she wasn't licensed. She's covering for me. Perfect. Is that her job? No, but she's on the same page. We help each other out. Do you pay Amber commission and base pay? I actually do. I pay her a very flat fee. Once she took over the director of operations role, she does a lot of things for me and my family outside of the business. It's hard to put an hourly wage on that. So I do pay her a very small flat salary to kind of cover all that extra stuff. Everything else is a percentage of the sales. I'll be open and tell you, because I don't mind. And it will change on your income, how much you pull in. She makes 5% on everything that I personally close my business. Now here's the catch, and we're going to get in this next week. My agents pay her per transaction for her services. I don't pay it. Jeff and I dove into that a little bit yesterday, and it's a really good way to, again, well, I don't want to get into it because I'm going to steal next week's stuff, but we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let's see. Can you talk more about compensation models if there's time? We just have a couple minutes. We're going to have a whole session on compensation models here in a couple weeks, because that's going to take more than a couple minutes. So we will get into that. Always found if licensed, they want to be an agent. Not great, Corey. You're right. You're right. That's a big struggle. But if you pay them enough, and I didn't put this in the slide, you overpay your admin. Overpay them. You get the one nugget out of this. You overpay them, because they are going to change your life. And then that gives them no reason to go be an agent. Told me that she could get 20 more working as an admin for the branch. She'd rather stay with me. Perfect, Dee Dee. She makes $60K a year with you. Great. I mean, that's awesome. You know, let's go to the next slide. Chrissy, I want to see what else we got here. Okay, we can go real quick again. So next week, we're going to dive more into defining the systems. We'll get into the compensation a little bit. But we're going to talk about more of the back end systems. How once you have that admin, what tasks you want he or she to do, and how you set those up, and then positioning yourself for success moving forward. But we can go probably for one more minute if you guys have any other questions. I know the compensation thing is always the biggest question. Curious where to go find an admin. Where do you begin? You know, a lot of people go the usual route, LinkedIn, put stuff out there. I've leveraged my Instagram. I've created an ad and marketing center. We're hiring rock star agents and staff. I'm happy to share that with you guys if you just send me an email. That way my friends, my past clients, the people I want to work with, I want to be surrounded with, are seeing that. And those are the type of people I want on my team. But I think we are, oh yeah, we're running out of time here, guys. So 60 is not that's a great cost of living. Definitely not. So I can tell you my Amber makes way more than that. She's super happy and she doesn't want to leave. And that percentage, that's the key. So if you guys have any other questions, again, you can reach out to me offline. You can email me, shoot me a message on Instagram, text me. I'm happy to help. I know I'm going to talk with Dee Dee later today. She had sent me a message last week. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your support and being here, and have a great rest of your week. Take care now.